Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back again. Hopefully, moving forward, we can get to a more weekly schedule like normal. But this is Through the Garden with myself, Jordan, Tommy, Alex. We are going to spare you guys the details. It's been a month since we last spoke with you, so there's been plenty of things that happen. We're kind of just going to keep it current today. Some grander stuff we'll get to, but mainly we're going to start with the Chicago Cubs kicking it off. Before we dive into the fallout, let's just answer one question. Did you guys want the Cubs to sign Alex Bregman? Tommy, we'll start with you.
That's so hard. I don't like. We we texted about it. I think we all felt
Yeah.
the same. It was like, it would have been cool. Like,
Yeah.
that would have been fun. Like, it definitely would have sparked some things up. But
Yeah.
to hear how we came up short and why we weren't chosen gave me zero surprise whatsoever. We're going to talk about Matt Shaw coming up, but I've been a very loud Matt Shaw guy. And so I understand and I've been a big Nico Horner guy, and there was just no way that a Nico Horner and an Alex Bregman exist on the same roster at the same
No,
time.
it
And
would have been, yeah, that would have
so,
been a whole.
yeah, so Nico would have gone. So part of me is like, okay, sweet, we're sticking with our guys. Another part of me is like, of course, we're the cheap Cubs. So whatever. My answer is whatever.
Yeah.
I wanted him.
Yeah.
I wanted him. I wanted him. I was ready to say, screw it. Just go for it. Screw it. Quit putzing around. Quit selling us on hope. Quit selling us on, well, if all the stars align and all the planets align and every asteroid is in this position and everyone is doing Tai Chi at such an angle, maybe things will go right. I'm just sick of it, frankly. And, I can't decide if I'm that mad at the Cubs. Like, I'm not mad at Jed Hoyer. He was given a limit of what he could offer, and he offered what he could. This is not on Jed Hoyer by any means. And it sounds like, too, in Boston, his old boss was a big catalyst to getting Alex Bregman. Theo was a big factor in that. So it's kind of like what goes around comes around. Theo always gets his guy. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I'm a little bummed out. Maybe it works out fine, but again, it's right now I'm bummed out. That tune could change in 2, 3, 4, 5 months, whatever. But right now I'm bummed out, just straight up.
Yeah, it would have been fun if like the Cubs had like another superstar to go with Kyle Tucker, and if Bregman came here, that would be signing a contract. So you would think that ideally this would be a multi-year situation. Of course, there was probably going to be opt-outs all along for Alex Bregman, considering what he wanted at the start of the market and what he ended up with. But the Kyle Tucker thing is like, Kyle Tucker is going to be a Chicago Cub for exactly one season and one season only. And if the Alex Bregman deal isn't proof of that, then I don't know what is, because Jed had a cap of what he was allowed to offer. Tucker is going to be like moons above that. So it's like, that's still not even going to happen. So, yeah, it would have been cool. I'm with you, Alex. It would have been cool, but we all knew this was not going to be a thing.
Tommy, you might have to, close your ears, cover your ears. In regard to the 2025 season, I don't give a damn about Matt Shaw's development. That's why I wanted Alex Bregman.
I understand. No, I understand. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I'm tired of the next guy being the guy.
Yeah.
Now, again, moving out this vacuum, I do think Matt Shaw is a legitimate top prospect in Major League Baseball, could have success. However, I'm done with this. Oh, well, we have these try-hard guys, or we have these good fundamental guys like Nico Horner. Well, Nico Horner is a very good player, borderline all-star when he's healthy. Alex Bregman, when he's healthy, is a superstar. And my whole thing, I think I've mentioned it to you guys in one of our group chat, is you add good players. Like, regardless of the conundrum it creates, you add good players. So you would have added Bregman. Shaw, in theory, Probably moves over to second base. Horner's traded in a deal that we can't surmise now. But I would have done it. I would have wanted Bregman here. I still wanted Bregman here. I'm disappointed. It's weird because it's not like I'm trying to think of it's not like I circled Bregman's name at the start of the offseason and the Cubs didn't get him. That's why I'm not like super disappointed that he's not here because it's something that I truly just didn't picture in October. Having said that, and this is what we'll get into now, I think the fallout from the Cubs, their offer, and how Jed Hoyer kind of drew a line in the sand between where he stands and where Tom Ricketts stands. I think that's something that's worth talking about because it's very clear now that, hey, Tom Ricketts is running the show when it comes to baseball operations. Sure, Jed is your president of baseball operations, but the fact that Jed was effusive in his praise of Ricketts for extending beyond his comfort zone and a deal that he didn't get done just tells you all you need to know about where the Cubs stand. And Tommy, to your point about the unlikelihood behind a Kyle Tucker contract extension next year, I will say one thing I do agree with the Cubs on. I'm glad they didn't give him the opt-out after year one in their offer. That would have been a tough pill for the Cubs, considering Bregman was a qualifying free agent. So meaning the Cubs would have lost international signing money. They would have lost two draft picks, and then Bregman opted out. You only had one season of him. So from that standpoint, I get why the Cubs waited until after year two for the opt-out. But you didn't offer the most money. You didn't offer the most years. You avoided any type of deferred money. Like, sure, your offer was competitive for your type of offers in the past, but for where Bregman's market was, it wasn't that competitive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everybody's pissed at the Dodgers for all the deferred money. Every single team in Major League Baseball can do that. I don't care if you're a big market. I don't care. I had a really long tweet about this a long time ago. Like, I don't care if you're a big market team, small market team, whatever. You can defer the bejesus out of whatever you want to. Like, it's in the, like, while it's still in the rule book that you can do that, you can do what the Dodgers are doing. And it goes back to, like, so take a team like Tampa Bay Rays or the Pittsburgh Pirates or somebody, small market, right? And a lot of their fans are like, woe is me, we don't have a lot of money. This is where I'm at. This is where I stand. I could be wrong, but this is just how I feel about things. If you own a Major League Baseball team, you're not scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Like, you can go out and you can invest in your team and make them good. You can do it. Is that a financial risk? Absolutely. That's what owning a team in sports is. It's a risk. Like, owning or making any type of investment is a risk. So it's like that anybody who owns a Major League Baseball team could go out and throw money and invest and try to see if you can turn a profit. Like, that's business, baby. So it's like, Tom's just saying, oh, I don't do deferred money. It's like everybody just is running over this man, and he just keeps getting up and dusting himself off and just goes about his way. And he it's just the most frustrating thing ever, man.
Yeah. Alex, your thoughts?
Did we lose Alex?
Well, I mean, you make a number of good
I thought we did.
there.
I was like, oh no.
I thought we lost Alex.
Tom Ricketts broke Alex.
I'm here. Yeah, well, he wasn't the only one to break me. No.
Oh, no.
They all broke me.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you make a number of good points. Obviously, you make a lot of good points there about the deferred money because a lot of teams do it. It's just, obviously the Dodgers do it at such an extreme, but there's deferred money everywhere. And, using Bruce Levine to tweet out the fact that you don't like deferring money and trying to frame it like it's a bad thing you're deferring money to two guys that were part of your World Series team, including the pitcher that changed your franchise, and John Lester. Who
quite frankly could end up with a statue one day. Let's be honest.
I think so, yeah.
I think he'll end up with a statue if there is a Cubs World Series statue from 2016, like a collective statue of like all the key
I feel like
guys.
it almost would have to be like a collective statue.
That's fair. I'd buy. Regardless, like he's John Lester, even Jason Hayward to a certain extent. Like those are guys that they're seen in Wrigley. They're you won us a World Series. You are you are God to us. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, Hayward.
Just one of those guys changed your franchise. It was a franchise-changing move with John Lester, and that's when they were ready to make those franchise-changing moves. And when their goal was to win it all and not be an entertainment hub, not a real estate business.
Yeah. That saying it's a real estate business. I mean, that is just.
That's what they are.
Like
that's what
dead
the
on the
are.
Dead on the
real
nose.
Estate company.
Yeah,
and I think what people lose sight of too is the real estate ventures that Tom Ricketts is doing around Wrigley Field is a separate entity from the Cubs. So the money that's being generated from those ventures is not being funneled back into the Cubs organization. It's being, I forget the exact name of the corporation, but it's being funneled into something completely outside of the Cubs.
Yeah, and that is 1,000% bullshit to say that those two are separate, because you think people are just going to that taco place. Wait.
Yeah, no, like from a fan perspective, it's connected.
I know. Yeah. But him not counting that as part of the revenue are you kidding me? You think people are going to the Budweiser bleacher house or whatever, or Jack Brickhouse place? I can tell you, living in the area on winter nights, it is dead. Okay, there are 8 months a year where Wrigley is popping off, and Ricketts is getting all of that money. And T-Box, St. Patrick's Day, these other days, he's count those days towards your not baseball revenue. Like, it's just so frustrating.
The source is the same, whether it's the team or the neighborhood. It's the Cub fans that are giving you the money.
And that's the difference between like a Steve Cohen. You think Steve Cohen is only using the money that
and that's the thing. Yeah.
You think he's only using the money from the revenue at Citi Field? No, he's a billionaire, and he's saying, I'm going to go buy whatever I have to bring the Mets a championship. Tom Ricketts is over here. Well, did that come out of this account or this account? And it's like, dude, that's something that I have to worry about, like where money goes in certain accounts.
Tommy has to worry about breaking even. Not
correct. Tom Ricketts doesn't have to worry about
not Tom Ricketts. Let's make that distinction.
Look, these are two very different humans.
Tommy wants to break even.
If I had the money to own the Cubs and I was in as deep as Tom Ricketts is, you bet your ass Shohei Ohtani is a Chicago Cub. Kyle Tucker is a long-term Chicago Cub.
Real quick right here. Real quick. Tommy, you're saying this about Tom Ricketts. Yeah. You live in Wrigleyville, okay?
I do.
What if you're talking right here, all of a sudden you get a knock on the door, you get up and you go out of frame, all of a sudden you go flying back and you see Tom Ricketts coming in and talking shit and trying to beat the crap out of you.
This is like that big
First off, Tom could not catch me. I've been like me to the door to Tom before. I just don't say anything to him.
So have I, yes.
Yeah. What about just like a Cousin Eddie situation? Like you're just going to kidnap him, but like you're not going to cause.
Oh, that's a good idea. I don't want to look
with a big ribbon on his head.
Here's the thing. I'm sure like outside of baseball or whatever. Well, no, I'm not sure of that.
No, I don't think I think aligned with.
Look, Tom. I am. He's not somebody that I would go and just be buddy with. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no.
It's like so. I'm a season ticket holder too, and he's robbing me in front of my face. He upped charges. We get 2 less home games, and the season ticket holders got to enter a raffle to where they might be able to buy tickets to the Japan game that have no travel plans or no flights, no bookings, nothing. There's no travel package through the Cubs to go to Japan to these games. It's you enter a raffle and you might get the chance to buy tickets. Like that's where it is.
I mean, I heard some people are starting GoFundMe's, and Cubs fans are
look. I'm a Bleacher Jeff guy. I'm glad he's going. I'm happy for him. Look, it's a free country. If he says, "Hey, I want to go to a game," and people out there are gonna pay for it, like, who are we? Like,
I think people made too much of a big deal.
Way too big of a deal. Like, who cares? Anyways, sorry, that's not what you came here for tonight.
No, we came here for a Matt Shaw conversation. And Tommy, I know this might be tough because you're the president of the Matt Shaw fan club. You have been since we started it. I mean, you have been since we started the podcast. One thing I do want to caution, because it felt like when the Alex Bregman stuff was going on, it became a conversation of Alex Bregman versus Matt Shaw. And in particular, I don't think that's necessarily true because, as we said at the jump, Horner would have been traded in that scenario. Shaw would have moved over to second base. So, I didn't, on that level, understand the Bregman versus Shaw comparison. I also don't understand the insane optimism that some Cubs fans have when it comes to Matt Shaw's 2025 season. I think we're facing a Caleb Williams situation where we think he's going to step in and be great right away. And granted, the last time the Cubs had a prospect of Matt Shaw's caliber, he stepped in and was great right away. But again, like what happened with that Cubs team, that's the exception, not the norm. So I just hope fans are ready for Matt Shaw to struggle this year and potentially return to AAA.
Look, what baseball player is hot start to finish in a year? Like, all the time, Like, and especially your first year of your career. And, my hype for Matt Shaw is for his entire career. I think he is going to be a great baseball player, and I'm very hopeful that every single year he plays, he's putting on the Cubs pinstripes. But I also...
But you only get 6 years.
Yeah, I only get 6 years, so... I'm hanging on to these moments, cherishing these moments.
And I want to add this too,
please,
just real quick. You mentioned, you made a mention that basically spelled out Chris Bryant, right? That was the prospect.
I also wasn't taking a shot at Chris Bryant. What Bryant?
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually going in the opposite direction. I think as high as I am on Matt Shaw, Chris Bryant was on another level as a prospect.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Chris
Bryant was a generational prospect.
Chris Bryant was drafted by an organization who told him that he was going to be the one to solve all of our problems. And it just so happens he kind of did. Matt Shaw, I don't think has the expectations that Chris Bryant had. But
Chris Bryant was the face.
Correct. And Matt Shaw isn't being broadcasted or anything as the face of the franchise right now.
Right.
I think a lot of us internally that are paying attention to these minor league games and paying attention to these young guys coming up, that kind of, since we've been trained to, because that's where we find our superstars for 3 to 4 years, and then they go to somebody who's going to pay them the correct amount of money. But watching Matt Shaw, it's like, I'm so excited for Matt Shaw, but I'm also not counting on him to be the guy for the 2025 season. Kyle Tucker is going to be the guy for the 2025 season.
For sure.
I would love to say Shota Imanaga is going to be the guy for the 2025 season. It just feels that way with like the second year of a pitcher, a little older, so he's not like he's not like a 22, 23-year-old like Paul Skeens, he's going to be, he's 30. He's going to be 31 this year. So it's his second year, but he's also been in professional baseball for like 10. So
for sure.
He's got that benefit for him, but it just feels like on a year-to-year basis, pitchers, like, they have to adapt with the hitters. It's just going to be a little different for Shota this year. I mean, prove me wrong by all means. I don't care, but but I'm going back to Matt Shaw. He's not going to be the superstar. I think the Cubs are planning on him to have a fantastic year. I think they're banking on it a little too much, quite frankly. But I think it would be better for Matt Shaw to be able to come in and surprise us rather than to be depended on. But it does, if he is the day one third baseman for this team, which I really think he's going to end up being, I think we're setting ourselves up for maybe a situation. But I'm gonna remain optimistic on Matt Shaw until he proves me wrong.
But see,
well, put the talent and the inexperience aside. There's the problem that he's already having oblique issues. That's my thing. It's not even for me the talent or the ceiling. When you have an oblique issue, that's tricky. Oblique issues are usually almost never not serious in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're also like 4 days in the camp. And I know that this is happening now, but maybe it's something that they're just like, why don't you just sit down for a little bit? Like maybe everything is.
We can hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think just what got to me is just the nature. And Tommy, this is actually why you're the president of the Matt Shaw fan club, because the way you handled that was perfect. Because I'm right there with you. I don't think Matt Shaw should be dependent on as like the anchor in the starting lineup. I don't think he should be dependent on to be the face of the 2025 team. The way some fans were talking about him during the Cubs' entanglement with Alex Bregman is Matt Shaw is already the star player and he can't be displaced.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What I want it to be for Matt Shaw this year, I want it to be watch what I can do instead of here's what we need you to do.
Yeah.
And there's a very big difference in that.
Yeah. And that was just part of my whole thinking with Bregman too. If you have Bregman as your third baseman and you had Shaw as your second baseman, you also have balance with John Birdie, who could spell Shaw for stretches at a time.
Sure.
It's not like last season where you can't really play Maris Mastrobuoni every day. You can't really play Nick Madrigal every day. You could probably get away with playing John Birdie for a couple weeks.
Yes.
But yeah,
yes,
that's just where I was at. Alex, what about you? What's your honest thoughts about Matt Shaw in his 2025 season outside of his oblique?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I said this yesterday, and one of the things that just has gotten to me is third base has been such a roll of the dice for so long now.
Yeah.
And third base is a premier position in baseball. If you're going to be a contender, you need a good third baseman. I mean,
don't know.
I think we lost Alex.
It's always. Oh, there you are.
You hear me
we got
now?
you.
We
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
got you.
Let me just start from the top and you can edit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. So, I mean.
It's so funny. He thinks I edit this thing. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
You're scaring me, Tommy. You're scaring me. Okay, let me just start from the top. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I've always said about third base is that it's a premier position in baseball. And you can't just spend years hodgepodging the Mastrobonis and the Madrigals and the Wisdoms and the Morels and all that stuff. They've been doing it way too long. It has been a mishmash for way too long.
Yeah.
And you need that solidified solution at the hot corner. If you're going to be a good team, a contending team, you need that solution. The list of names they've had playing at third over the past few years, it's like a massive scroll. It's like that episode of SpongeBob where he's got the scroll and it's going all over the house.
It's like
really what it's
like
been.
the Cleveland Browns quarterback jersey.
Yes, exactly. So you've been rolling the dice for so long, and the ceiling for Shaw is high. I really like Matt Shaw, but I want to sit down and see, there's my everyday third baseman I know I can trust. I know who is going to be good at the position, fielding, and a productive hitter with power. I'm not saying, a 280 hitter that hits 2 home runs, maybe a Nick Madrigal that hits 2. No, none of that stuff. You need to hit power. You need to drive in runs if you're going to be an effective third baseman. I mean, look at every Cubs team that's contended since we were around. 2003, you got Aramis Ramirez. 07, 08, you had in prime Aramis Ramirez. Then you had Chris Bryant in your big window with the World Series and the NLCS runs and whatnot. And you haven't had that the past few years, and you've missed out on the big dance. So that's just, you need to get that stability, and I'm hoping we finally see that with Shaw. But right now, it's another roll of the dice. I'm not saying that it's not going to work. I'm not saying you're not going to roll a 7, but right now, that's where it is.
Yeah. Luckily, too, Matt Shaw did come out and say that third base is his preferred position. So we got that going for us.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be a Christopher Morel situation where you're essentially teaching a brand new position to Morel like you are. I think Shaw, him wanting to play third base, him having played third base in the minor league system, I think is going to go a long way this year when it comes to him being the starter.
Yeah. One more thing before we're done with Cubs. Kyle Tucker's going to be the superstar of this team. Shota Imanaga just announced, shocking, he's going to pitch the first game in Japan.
Absolutely shocking.
Yeah. Here's where I think this is a bold prediction, but if you really think about it, it's not super bold. You know who I think is going to have just a here I am season? Michael Busch. I think Michael Busch is going to put himself in the category as a top tier first baseman in Major League Baseball. We saw his development from the opening out of the gates of 2024 to the last game of the season was insane. He made so many strides forward. Remember when we were talking about it was like, maybe we should put him at second. Maybe we should put him at third. He stuck with it. I'm telling you, I think he is going to come out this year and make himself a top tier first baseman in Major League Baseball. And I cannot wait to see it. And if Craig Counsell does not let him hit against left-handed pitching, I'm going to lose my mind.
That's so funny. I was prepared for you to say something like outlandish. I'm like, oh no, what am I going to have to try and argue? But I'm not arguing anything here because I think you're 100% right. In fact, I think there's disrespect with how some people are talking about Michael Busch as if he's an unknown commodity when statistically, not only was he one of the Cubs' top 3 offensive performers last year, but Tommy, to your point, he was already one of the top National League first basemen by offense.
Yeah.
He was better than Pete Alonso. So I know a lot of people want to point to Michael Busch and be like, oh, well, he doesn't have a back of the baseball card. Well, it's tough to have a back of the baseball card when you haven't played in Major League Baseball.
Last year was his rookie year.
I was about to say, his only season in Major League Baseball, his first 4 seasons in Major League Baseball, he was a top 10 performer at his position. And I'm just baffled by the people who still want to sit here and say, oh, well, how come they had to move Cody Bellinger? How come they couldn't just play Cody Bellinger at first base instead of Michael Busch? No, you want Michael Busch at first base because the Cubs aren't spending money.
He's your everyday guy. He has to play every day.
Yes.
And the Cubs aren't spending money. And for the next 5 years now, he's going to be under team control at a relatively cheap cost.
Yes.
So,
let him earn an argument to keep him long term after his contract is over,
He might make us forget about Anthony Rizzo.
Who?
Exactly.
I'm just kidding. No, and for everybody saying
getting spicy
this is tough. I'm having a tough night, boys. For every good take, I've swung and missed. And for everybody thinking Anthony Rizzo's still a free agent, Michael Busch is left-handed. What good would getting Anthony Rizzo?
And that's what we call a segue because the signing the Cubs made today all but rules out Anthony Rizzo won't be coming back because they signed Justin Turner. And I'm going to repeat what I just said. The signing of Justin Turner rules out Anthony Rizzo. Do you know why? It's because Justin Turner is going to be the Cubs' backup first baseman. There's a lot of crazy narratives out there about why would the Cubs add a third baseman that's 40 years old? Or typical Cubs, they go from one all-star third baseman to an aging third baseman. Let me tell you something Justin Turner hasn't done the last 2 seasons. Play third base. In each season, he's played less than 70 innings at third baseman.
Yeah.
He's not a third baseman. The Cubs aren't signing him to be a starter. They're signing him to be a backup first baseman, occasional DH if Seiya's in the outfield. And Tommy, not to take a shot at your text message, This is far from Trey Mancini or Eric Hosmer.
I was in my.
I'm writing about that right now.
I was in my feels. Okay, I was in my feels.
Turner's last 2 months with the Mariners last season, he was a very good offensive player, a WRC plus of over 125.
Yeah.
For the role that he's going to be in on the Cubs, I wanted that move. I'm glad the Cubs got it done.
Yeah, I texted in the group. I said Eric Hosmer, Trey Mancini, Justin Turner. Yeah, it was half a joke. I mean, I've thought for a very long time, as many of us have, that Justin Turner was going to end up on the Cubs roster.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. I'm not going to go run on the streets and say we did it. I'm not going to sulk about it because I'm sad. I'm not sad. I'm not happy. It's just like, this is the move this is what the Cubs do. This is the kind of move that they make. They find a bargain for a veteran to come off the bench and do things to stuff. So I think Trey Mancini was like expected to be a starter. I don't know what the hell Eric Hosmer was doing on this roster at any given point. But yeah, whatever. This is not that because
the two.
Yeah,
you had a lefty and Hosmer.
Yeah, this is not that because they are trusting Matt Shaw. I still believe. I will say Matt Shaw is going to be the third baseman on opening day.
Oh yeah, no, that's not even a question.
And Michael Busch is the first baseman. Like, stop it.
Yeah.
Justin Turner is going to come in a very, very reserved role. I think this is the role that he wanted. He doesn't want to be the guy anymore. He's just going to come in, help out, get his ABs, play a little first base, and have some fun in Chicago.
Yeah, perfect city to do it.
Yeah. Hopefully he brings a boat, parks it at Belmont Harbor. Has a good
time.
He
got other offers too, but he chose to came to the Cubs.
He said he wanted to come to Chicago. So
that also tells me the Cubs are being pretty cheap. But but hey, we got Justin Turner. We are going to end the Cubs talk on that note. By the time we come back, though, we will have some spring training games.
Yeah, everybody boot up those marquee subscriptions.
I know. I did it yesterday.
I'm gonna do it.
Jake.
I'm gonna do it tomorrow.
Jake reminded me. I was like, oh hey, yeah, I gotta do that.
Yep.
But shifting gears, let's talk some Bears. No games to be heartbroken over. No bad decisions yet from the Bears. So far, it's been a clean offseason. So for this, we're just going to talk about some recent rumors. Eddie George was one of the handful of head coaching candidates that the Bears interviewed with. And when he was talking about the process, he brought attention to the fact that the Bears had 3 running backs pretty high on the draft board. Ohio State running backs Travion Henderson and Quinton Judkins, and Iowa running back Caleb Johnson. The running back position seems to be getting a lot of talk right now with Bears fans just because of Ben Johnson, what he did with the Lions, DeAndre Swift's history with the Lions. Boys, let's start there. Do you think for the second straight offseason, running back should be a big swing from the Bears?
No. Alex?
A big swing. Are you talking like a big signing, a bit like a reaching in the draft? Is that
talking
what
either
about?
Reaching in the draft or a big signing?
Well, see, here's the thing is I think you can get a good running back in the draft and not have to reach. I mean, look at every year. Great
and
running
honestly,
backs come
any of the
spots.
three I mentioned, you can probably get on day 2.
Sure, exactly. So I don't think you need to reach, but I do think it is something you need to address. Because you need a better running game. And I don't blame it all on DeAndre Swift and, what he can and cannot do and what we cannot do. But obviously there's something to be said about your scheme, your offensive line, which is all something that you're going to be presumably better with Ben Johnson. So
okay, I'll go.
You need a better line. You can implement that.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
Do you know how you get a better running game, Jordan?
How? Please enlighten me. I'm a Bears fan, so I don't know
in
much.
Free agency, in the draft, the only thing I want the Bears reaching for is for the other end of the measurement tape when they're trying to reach around the biggest fattest offensive linemen they can find. Because
Yes.
this is my draft board. My draft board goes by a guy's weight and waist size, and the biggest are at the top. I don't care that people draft best on the board. People draft need this position. I want the fattest, biggest waisted SOBs in the National Football League to be on the Chicago Bears offensive line. And other than that, I really don't care because Caleb Williams is the quarterback. It doesn't matter. DJ Moore is still going to be here. Roma Dunze is still going to be here. Cole Kmet is still going to be here. Give me big, fat linemen, and everything else will fall into place.
No, yeah, I'm right there with you. I think we said it in our group thread before that, at least for me, I'm not really focusing on anything until I have at least 3 new starting offensive linemen. So it's great if you can get one of these 3 running backs on day 2. I wouldn't make it a priority. I do think you need a little bit of a secondary back if you're going to keep DeAndre Swift, more of a back that can run between the tackles. But again, I don't think that should be a priority. I don't think you should be drafting Ashton Genty in the first round. I don't think you should be spending a lot of money on Aaron Jones. But honestly, if they come away with any of these 3 running backs, I would be content.
Oh, it'd be cool. I'd be excited about it. By the way, Alex is dead. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know.
Maybe
what to
Tom Ricketts got him.
It went after the wrong guy. Maybe I don't know.
Wow.
Anyways, but yeah, I want big fat linemen. That's really all I care about. And then so that's what I'm going to be scouting at the combine. That's what I'll be watching the draft for. And then, quite honestly, don't talk to me about the Chicago Bears until spring training or training camp. I'm so that is so far removed. RIP to Virginia. We haven't podcasted since then.
That's right.
RIP to Virginia. Beautiful, sweet lady. Everything that I said about her, it wasn't her fault. I said some mean things, and it wasn't her fault. And that's where I'll leave it at with her. RIP. 100 bajillion years living. That's incredible. And I mean, and she lived her whole life around the best franchise in football. Like, it's a cool life story, incredible life story. R.I.P. Virginia. George, avid listener of Through the Garden. Do the right thing. Just do the right thing. All is forgiven, all is forgotten if you just do the right thing. Just put it up, take your 10 bill, and get out. Just do the right thing. That's all I ask.
Yeah. Alex, are you with us?
Oh, wait. Alex, I looked in the wrong way.
Alex, if you're talking, we still can't hear or see you. But, Tommy, I think I know where you're going to go with this next one then. Over the next month, we are in for a wild trading season in the NFL. There are some big names on the market.
Sure.
There's Myers Garrett, there's Cooper's Cup, there's Micah Parsons, there's CD Lamb.
Yep.
Do you give up any draft capital for any of these players? We have Alex back.
Oh, thank God, Alex is alive.
Have you really haven't seen me this whole time?
No, we just saw you
like 5 minutes. You've been gone.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, hey, this could be a me thing. Quite honestly,
we thought Virginia got you.
Yeah.
Well,
we were.
Tom got me actually.
Oh.
So.
We were memorializing Virginia, and then I looked dead in the camera, and I told George to do the right thing. And,
well, I saw you say that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, I didn't. I kind of saw you. I saw you out of the corner of my eye because Tom Ricketts came in with a shepherd's hook and grabbed me by my neck.
Oof.
So as you were saying that, I was being dragged away. So I apologize. Did you even hear anything I said about the running backs?
No.
Not the end of it.
Not the end of it. Yeah, we saw we
heard the beginning. Yeah. We are very aligned. I can tell you that. We're all on the same page here. I said that I wanted the only thing that I wanted the Bears to be reaching for is the other end of the measuring tape around the fattest lineman to measure his waist.
and I said I'm not doing anything until there's at least 3 new starting offensive linemen.
And then I told George to sell the team.
And then I was previewing what should be a wild month in the NFL. We have some superstar names on the trade block. We have Myles Garrett. We have Micah Parsons, Trey Hendrickson, CeeDee Lamb, not CeeDee Lamb, Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel. You know how Bears fans are. They see a superstar's name on Twitter, and they're like, Bears.
Yes.
But going back, I will say there is one exception from on that list that I probably would trade for, but in general, my theory is same as the running backs. Until there's 3 new offensive linemen, I'm not doing anything else. I will say I could be talking to a Micah Parsons trade. Only because he's 25.
Yeah,
because he's 25, and even if you have to give up your first round pick this year, I think I do it. But other than that, no.
Yeah. I was watching our old friend Danny Parkins this morning on Breakfast Ball.
Yeah.
And he and I are pretty aligned on this. Micah Parsons is going to be a Dallas Cowboy. This is going to draw out for a very long time. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of headlines because all Jerry cares about is the Dallas Cowboys leading off these morning shows. And they're going to do that for a very long time. He's going to hold out a training camp. He's going to request a trade. He's going to do all the things. But by the time the last preseason game starts and we're getting ready for the regular season, Micah Parsons is going to be a Dallas Cowboy. It's going to happen.
Fast. It's not going to be the last preseason game. Do you know why?
Pourquoi?
Who's going to open up the NFL season on an island game?
The Chiefs.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, that's right. The Eagles won the Super Bowl. Congratulations to the Eagles. Winning the Super Bowl.
What will Jerry Jones do? That Thursday, an hour before the game.
That's a good call.
He will sign Micah Parsons to a contract.
Good call. Congratulations to the Eagles.
I could totally see that. And I mean, here's the thing too: is would I like Micah Parsons on my team? Yes. Would I like Myles Garrett on my team? Yes. Nobody's saying that they wouldn't like them on the Bears, but
right.
You need the draft capital. Like you're not in a Khalil Mack position where like that was the one missing piece to make you relevant again, and they swung on it. You're in a little bit of a different spot right now.
I will say, unless he fleeces the bejesus out of Cleveland.
Well, of course.
Like if he gets a deal where it's like people are like, what? Then I'm in.
Yeah,
you do your due diligence on it,
right?
You make the phone call,
right?
Sure.
I'd be mad if they didn't.
Most likely going to cost a fortune.
I would be mad if they didn't try, and I don't even know if Myles Garrett is going to get traded because Cleveland is very adamant that they're going to keep this guy. So
yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. Of all the people I mentioned, I think it's probably might just be Cooper Kupp that gets traded.
Yeah, he's the only one that the team was like, we're going to trade you,
right?
Yeah,
and the Bears don't need Cooper Kupp. I don't think.
Oh no, I'm saying honestly, and this might be my hot take for this episode. I want to see what Tyler Scott can do. Like I'm
telling you that if the Bears make the offensive line fat and meaty,
yeah, I mean
anything is possible with Caleb Williams.
And I feel like because here's why Tyler Scott has speed that the other 2 receivers don't, and I get it. Like the limited, mind you, very limited. So we're only judging him off of limited sample size of route running and not being able to catch the ball. And I know for a wide receiver, those are 2 things
pretty important things.
Those are 2 things you can't be bad at. But to Tommy's point, let's get some fat people along the offensive line. Let's get him time to
Velus Jones.
Excuse me. Okay, now. By the way,
what?
I'm still not over you guys. When you guys said we wouldn't be talking about Velus Jones when the season started. And
what are you talking about? I sneezed.
We were talking about Velus Jones for how long?
What do you have to say about Velus Jones?
What about Velus Jones? What about him? I just sneezed.
I just miss his was it a format or fees? What do you Weasel?
Oh, it's Ferret?
Ferret. Yeah, that's right.
Ferret. Yeah, it was.
Is that what he had, a ferret?
Oh man. But no, yeah.
Fat offensive line, defensive lineman too. I don't care. If you're on the line and you're pushing 380, I'm in.
You need a defensive line too, and that's I think the lesson we learned from the Eagles is what that defensive line they ate Patrick Mahomes and spat out his bones.
Man, if only we had the opportunity to draft a Jalen Carter.
Hot take. I'm still okay with that.
Yeah,
but Darnell Wright.
He went to Philly where all of his teammates went to Georgia. Like I'm sure he had some big brothers to like pull him in a little bit. That would not have been the case in Chicago. All he would have had was Roquan Smith, and Roquan Smith was gone. So
yeah, I will say one thing: if you're a Bears fan and you're raising your pinky because you watched the Eagles with Chiefs, and you're like, "Oh man, you see Trey Smith? He's getting beat all the time. I don't want him." You're a goddamn fool. Like, like even in that game, Trey Smith would have ran circles around the Bears offensive lineman that we've had.
Look, the Eagles here's the thing about the Eagles that helped them with the Super Bowl. They were healthy and they were fresh and they were ready to go. The training staff at the parade held up a sign that said 30 of 32 first game starters started in the Super Bowl. So they had two guys of all of the guys who started that did not 20 of 22. I'm sorry, I said 30 of 32.
Yeah, they
20 of they had two starters that did not start the Super Bowl that started on the opening week of football. That's incredible. Like that is so whatever they got going on over there, they know what they're doing. They're keeping their players healthy and they're winning a lot of very meaningful football games. They took the Chiefs to the woodshed.
They did.
I'll say this too. Their coordinator, very familiar, Vic Fangio, one of my favorite, if not my favorite Bears coaches ever. What did we see when Vic Fangio was here when they were contending towards the end? Their defense stayed pretty healthy for the most part. I mean, one of the things about 2018 is that defense played from beginning to end pretty much every game. All the big names were in there. And you saw it again. Defense, they were healthy. They were out there. And I think that when you look at the Bears going forward, you're going to say, okay, your scheme is different because you're going to play a 4-3. So you're going to have more guys on the line. You're going to have three linebackers, a middle linebacker, your strong linebacker, and your other outside linebackers. So your front seven, that's going to be just incredibly important for you because I think our linebackers are in good shape, and if Billings is healthy, you have a run stopper, but you're going to need more pass rush, much more pass rush, especially if you're going 4-3. And I mean, this is going to be a much more aggressive defense. You're going to play more man-to-man coverage, and you're just going to go after it harder, even with all the hits principle stuff that Matt Eberflus preached. That was preaching soft zones and going to the ball instead of staying on your man. And I think that makes there are advantages and disadvantages to both, but I think you see what happens when you don't get pressure on a quarterback, you can't stop a run, and you play soft zone. When that happens, the opposing quarterback has all day to throw. He could just dump off to a guy in the middle of the field, and he's going to be given an extra cushion. So if it's 3rd and 12 and you dump it off for 5 yards, he's got another 4 yards to run before getting hit. And the momentum is going to carry him across for a first down. You play closer to your man and you get pressure on that quarterback, it makes that a hell lot more difficult. So get this right, fix it. You got the right type of coach in Dennis Allen to do that kind of thing. And hopefully with the right talent and the right drafting and the right signings with the talent you already have, you're going to see a much more effective defense. And take a note out of Philly's book, the way that defensive line just dominated.
Just took him to the woodshed, man.
That's a good plan. Moving on to a team who doesn't quite have a plan. Our lovely Chicago Bulls. First time in 3 years they made a trade in season. They traded Zach LaVine to the Kings to
hang the banner.
For scraps.
Get their They traded Zach LaVine to the Kings to get their own draft pick back.
Hang the banner.
So
scraps.
Go okay. And then,
sorry. Go
on.
Then,
well, just wait because there's more. Because there's riveting moves that the Bulls made. Right now.
I'm with Tom.
Despite teams offering you a first-round pick for Lonzo Ball, you're like, no, let me sign him to a 2-year deal or $20 million. Boys, the Bulls are cooked.
Does the contract include the rights to his brother's music career?
I hope not, because that will guarantee I don't watch another game.
I have not watched a Chicago Bulls game, and I don't know how long. I don't know what to tell you. Like when I moved back here in 2017, like I knew what I was getting with going to Cubs games. It was like I know the Bears game. Like I know, like that's no matter what the Bears are. Every week like is important because you only get 16, 17 of them a year. You only get 8 or 9 at home.
Sundays are sacred.
Correct.
During the football season. Yeah.
Hockey environments are electric. It doesn't matter who is playing who, where. Hockey environments are electric. But
Look
at
the Four Nations tournament.
We'll get to that. We will get to that. But yeah, so every hockey environment is just so much fun. I came to Chicago. I was like, I cannot wait to go to Bulls games because like it's a young team. Like we're gonna start building something. That was now almost 8 years ago, and we've only regressed. And like 3 different seasons, I was like, well, it probably can't get worse than this. Here we are. Like it's just, it's so disappointing. And so like, I was already a pretty casual Bulls fan because they like. I saw a lot of the Bulls when Rose was on the Bulls because they were always on national TV. So I always got to watch it in Atlanta.
Yeah.
But like after Rose was gone and then I came up here and they've just absolutely stunk. And when we got Levine, I was like, okay, that's somebody, that's a thing. And then DeRozan came. I'm like, oh, and then Vooch came. I'm like, oh, we got absolutely nothing out of that. We got nothing. Absolutely nothing.
We got a playoff win.
Got a playoff win. And then I went to the United Center the next game thinking, oh my God, we're going to take out the Bucks. And they were up by 74 after the first quarter. Like it was done. And my friend, so I got free tickets from work. I went with a coworker and we went to the game. They were like, it was 10 minutes left in the third quarter. He was like, let's just go to the bar. And we left. Like it was like, it's so
I would have left
dumb.
too.
Like I hate what the Bulls are. I suppose like Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman. And you think of the 90s, like the NBA ran through Chicago and it all just,
a culture.
And when Michael left, it all went away. And then we got a little glimpse of it with Derrick Rose, the hometown kid, coming to save the Bulls, and by God, he was going to. Like if he didn't go down, I think the Bulls could have gotten one. But
yeah, I think so.
And then that all happened. It was like, I think the Bulls might be the worst franchise in the NBA.
They're bottom tier, absolutely.
Yeah, they're definitely in that.
And there are some bad franchises in the NBA, like the Hornets, for instance. Maybe the Pelicans. I don't know. The Pelicans are kind of good sometimes, but
never enough to do anything.
Yeah, but the Bulls, like I've listened to national podcasts and national shows where nobody has any affiliation, and the Bulls are a joke. The Chicago Bulls are an absolute joke. And it's just
one of the biggest brands and one of the biggest fan bases, the most passionate fan bases in
the
all
biggest
sports.
The biggest arena in the NBA is Chicago.
They fill those games because the experience of a Bulls game is still very, very good. And people go for that. They're not going to watch whatever's left of that team. I mean, Montes Puzelis, I think, is legit. I think he's a legit talent. But where else do you go with it, though? Where else do you go with it?
We go to Lonzo Ball.
Look, great story. An incredible story.
It is a good story. It is, but
how do you not root for the guy? But
hey, maybe we trade for Terrence Shannon.
They were gonna get a first rounder for a guy who wasn't even supposed to have a leg.
I know, and then they signed him for 2 more years.
They've traded away their best players and gotten no real meaningful draft capital out of any of it. They just get salary cap relief and scraps.
If they get the first overall pick, and I'm that kid from Duke, I'm going back to Duke.
Oh,
Yeah,
Cooper Flag.
Oh yeah,
Cooper Flag.
yeah, Cooper Flag. Like if the Bulls get the number one
Yeah.
pick, I'm going back to Duke. I
Yeah,
don't want
he's gonna be
any
so
part of
good.
this.
I saw starting to get in my college basketball like mode. Watching a lot of Duke games lately. He's gonna be so good. He's,
Yeah. Well, he's the consensus number 1
Yeah.
overall pick. At
No,
this
Oh
point.
my
unquestioned.
god, yeah, it's like
yeah,
yeah, it's
unquestioned. Yeah.
yeah, but
And you're
yeah,
not bad enough to have good enough odds. That's the thing.
Well, no,
You are
yeah.
not near good enough to do anything meaningful whatsoever, but you're already not bad enough to have the best odds to get it.
Yeah.
So the Bears had the number one pick with Caleb.
Yes.
The Blackhawks had the number one pick with Bedard.
Yes.
Correct.
If the Bulls get the number one pick and they get Cooper Flag, I'm done.
Trifecta.
I am done with excuses. Like, what more do you like? That just shows everybody's incompetent. Like,
Yeah. No. Yeah. But see, to Alex's point, they traded Zach far too late. They mind baffling that they just stopped after trading Zach. Yeah, I'm not really sure what they're doing here. And honestly,
Why is Vooch
like
still here.
the Bulls,
yeah, that's what I don't understand. It was
Yeah,
like, get
and
whatever you
honestly,
can.
the Bulls might go back to the Blackhawks prior to the Kane and Tays dynasty, to where people just don't care. And like
It's
you can
happening.
make- outside
People
of
don't
like
care.
outside of like the casual Chicago sports fan and hockey fans, you can make a case still that the Blackhawks are facing an uphill battle to get attention. I think
Yes,
the
they are.
Bulls are going to far surpass that in terms of just not being relevant because of what they're doing and have been doing under this regime.
It's
Well,
like,
and
yeah,
the
they.
fact too that the NBA is losing popularity right
Yeah.
now. as
Oh
a
my
whole.
god, yeah.
And
I forgot that it was All Star Weekend. I had no idea that it
Yeah,
was All
yeah,
Star.
I
that's
Weekend.
remembered when
much.
everyone was saying how bad it was,
I
including
was about to say, yeah.
Draymond Green.
you didn't miss much. It's still dead.
Well, that's
I
the
would-
thing.
yeah.
I know that I didn't miss anything because it wasn't even on my radar that it was
Yeah.
happening. When I was a kid,
Right.
the dunk contest was
Appointment.
cannot miss. And that-
Appointment
and
television.
it
course, it was
and it
great.
all went downhill when LeBron said, "Count me in for next year," and then never showed up. That
That's-
is the moment that NBA All Star Weekend died.
We'll get to this in our junk drawer at the end of the show, but I'm so tired of like star players watching a dunk contest and then going on to it. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, next year we're going to run it back." No, you're not.
And then he
Like,
did,
you're-
and then he didn't even play. Like 20 minutes before
Yeah.
tip off, he's like, "I'm not gonna play."
yeah, yeah. No, we'll get to We'll
Don't
get to
even.
The NBA. We'll get to
Bush
the
League.
NBA All Star, but we are going to let's talk that hockey. Boys, don't have much offer on the Blackhawks because CHSN is still not on Xfinity.
Who cares
So-
about the Blackhawks? We need to talk about Four Nations.
I was late to the Four Nations tournament series, whatever they're calling it. I literally tuned in. USA Canada was literally the first game I watched, and boys, I'm hooked.
Well, here's the thing.
yeah.
We get it again. Thursday
know.
night
I
in
know.
Boston. Oh
I know.
my God.
I know.
I am.
Yeah.
I will not be missing it.
Appointment TV on Thursday. I
And
can't
the
wait.
ratings are great. It's been a ratings
Yeah.
bonanza. More people watch this than the NBA All Star Game. I mean,
That's what
that's been one of the biggest storylines of it.
it seemed like. The NHL has perfected a way to showcase not only their stars, and stop me if I'm wrong, but like international stars as well, to have this tournament of different countries facing each other, and all the background, not a political podcast, but all the background stemming from USA and Canada right now. That game was phenomenal,
Oh, it
and
was
I
awesome.
cannot wait.
It was for pride,
Yeah.
It's like for patriotic pride for either side. And here's the other advantage that hockey has. It has the history of being an international sport. Now,
Mhm.
it might not always seem that way because we're in the United States and
Mhm.
hockey is often taken a back seat to basketball, football, and baseball. But I mean, look at it's a second religion in Canada, and it's such a big deal in Europe. And you look at the history of hockey and the Olympics, one of the most historic 20th century Olympic tales are the Olympic hockey games. The
Mhm.
Miracle on Ice in 1980. There is a long storied history of international hockey play. So it has a leg up on that. And what the NHL has done has taken advantage of that.
It's incredible.
It's like watching the Olympics.
That's fun.
Exactly.
Yeah, they were
like the Olympic hockey games.
Yeah, and they were like, oh, our All-Star weekend sucks. Let's do this instead. And it they knocked it out of the park.
Phenomenal.
The only thing is like the only downside right now, and it's going to change because it's just 4 teams isn't enough. Like they need more, and it's gonna change. Like there was a whole obviously Russia wasn't involved because of the war going on, and then there were touchy-feely things happening. However, this thing is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Good.
And the players have proven that they will treat this like a Stanley Cup, which is what you need in an All-Star game. And
this is a game. It's not an exhibition or a
This don't say this doesn't count for anything. Yeah, this counts for everything to them.
Yeah.
And we get the Olympics basically every year for a couple weeks, and it's going to be awesome. And I just can't wait for it to expand, because when it expands and you got like Canada or United States, or when Russia gets in it, like up against the wall, like must win must win territory. Oh, it's going to be awesome.
And for all of us,
it can only get better, and it's incredible right now.
Yeah. And for all of us who didn't experience the Miracle on Ice, we would love to see something like that again.
Yeah. But it's not going to be like that, because hockey is an American sport now. We have taken hockey. Hockey is now ours.
Right on. Touche. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Alexa, play Freebird. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Not really. Yeah. Not really. Alexa, stop.
Get ready. I cannot wait for Thursday. Thursday's going to be great.
Yeah, I know. And it's in Boston, like you said, so it's going to be pretty.
Definitely doing the Canadian national anthem.
I might start it late. I'm taking my lovely wife out for dinner.
Date night. That's right.
But it will be recorded. Because Anna too also as well a puckhead.
No, I would venture to guess this might be the first game in a while where all three of us are live texting the group thread. Well, it's been a minute.
I might start late. I'll catch up by the second period though, because I'll fly through the first period or the first intermission.
So you're gonna miss all the fights in the first 9 seconds.
I mean, I'll catch it, but don't hold back on the text.
Take.
Okay.
Speaking of
bring violence and fighting back. I love it.
And also
bring it back.
Brady Tkachuk.
Kick each other's ass.
Brady Tkachuk to Chicago.
Sure.
Why not?
Sure.
Who says no?
Sure. I don't.
Okay, great.
Speaking of text, Alex, open your ears, because you still got some time, because WrestleMania is actually a little bit later this year. It's not till like the 3rd weekend of April, but
it's also going to stink.
Tommy and I text each other every Monday and Friday, and we have major concerns because Alex, you missed a lot. The Royal Rumble, I think we mentioned it on the last pod, was a week before our last pod, and Triple H made the bold, correct decision to have Jey Uso win. The issue with that is, booking wise,
it's not good.
It's giving us a match that we literally just had.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't good.
It wasn't good. And even more concerning than that is you have star power in Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, John Cena, and Cody Rhodes all kind of need something to do for wrestling's biggest events. And
Jey Uso gets a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship instead of those names being.
One of those names would have been a bigger appeal. And it seems like they don't really know what to do, because it seems like they're either going to do a triple threat between Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk, which, not really feeling that. I would be down for the rumored John Cena, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk triple threat match. I think there's magic to be had with those three.
Yeah, that's like 3. Yeah, it's like
the storytelling with those three, I think, can be good. But we're in a problem because Triple H has backed himself into a corner when it comes to booking WrestleMania. I would also argue The Rock not wrestling this year probably played a factor in that as well.
Well,
because
hang
I
on.
just
What,
don't-
Alex? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, do you think Jey Uso should have won the Royal Rumble?
Yes.
Why?
Okay.
I think it's funny that your camera did not go out for this segment,
Right.
but when you had important things to say, it did.
So your camera's
I
saying
know.
you should watch wrestling.
know.
Look, I'm worried, and I watched Raw a little late this week. I started it late, and then I started it from the beginning, and I fast forwarded through 4 matches. Like, it's just
You didn't miss much.
Yeah, I
you
didn't.
didn't. Although I will say, I did, as someone who now hates the Jey Uso entrances, I did appreciate Gunther trolling.
Oh, I
Jey
loved
Uso.
it.
Yeah.
Look, this rivalry between Jey Uso and Gunther has only made me a bigger Gunther guy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, in order to get me interested in this match, Gunther just has to go on a monster heel run,
Yeah,
just getting heat wherever he can. Because
yeah.
yeah.
I think Also, I only watch because Pat McAfee has a microphone in front of him, and that's just magical at
One
all
that's not
times.
cold.
And I like a new drinking game every time Pat McAfee says "Holy hell." Holy
I mean,
hell, Michael.
We'll see what they do at Elimination Chamber to kind of,
Yeah.
untie the damage they've done. But
Yeah.
I'm not excited for WrestleMania.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Also, in other news, I won the Daytona 500 on iRacing.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Big deal. Took 3 hours, 200 laps, won it.
Oh, yeah.
And then William Byron won the actual Daytona 500. So congrats to him. It was kind of a crapshoot, and he kind of backed into the win. But nonetheless, 2 times in a row now,
What's a
he's won
win?
the Daytona 500. So congrats to him.
Win is a win.
While we're just
another-
emptying the drawer of things nobody cares about.
And another emptying of the drawers, as we talked about earlier, guys, NBA All-Star Weekend is dead.
I don't even care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's-
not even.
How many Bulls
The players
representatives
don't
did we
even
have
care.
besides Lonzo introducing his
can't dunk.
brother?
We had Matas in the dunk contest.
He was in
But
it. I didn't even
If
know.
you blink,
I didn't even
if
know
you
he
blink,
was
you
in it.
missed him.
Didn't
Yeah,
even know
if
he
you
was in
blink,
it.
you missed him.
I saw somebody jump
Well,
over
you
a
didn't
car
win, so it
that
doesn't matter.
I saw
but-
somebody
Yeah.
jump over a car that isn't even in the NBA.
Yeah, I'm kind of done with the Mac McClung thing too. It was fun the first year, but I've just
Cares
no
now,
interest.
honestly. Neither-
Um,
Even the
Let's
celebrity
leave-
game was stupid. Barry Bonds was a coach.
was he really
Yeah. It was
Oh.
Barry Bonds versus Jerry Rice.
interesting?
And Bailey was on Jerry Rice's team.
I did hear about Bailey. I did hear about that on Friday Night SmackDown.
Yeah.
But let's close with one final thought. Just something to leave the people thinking for the next week. Outside of the Cubs, what baseball team are you most looking forward to watching this summer?
I think I have an answer, and I think it might surprise you, might not. The Los Angeles Angels.
Oh,
So
a good one.
obviously, our good friend Kyle Hendricks is now over there.
yeah.
But that is
Yes, he
a
is.
team that is very quietly made some moves to both get younger, but also bring in some veteran presence. Mike
Yeah.
Trout officially moving to right field now, to shake up the lineup a little bit. I don't think they're going to be as crappy as they were before, and you can't trust Mike Trout to be healthy all the time, which is sad. I completely blame the Angels organization for that. Mike Trout was going to be
Yeah.
the greatest player of all time, and now he's kind of forgotten about, and it's kind of sad. But I'm hopeful for him to stick around all year. He says he feels healthy and he wants to go, and he still wants to play baseball, and I'm really hopeful for him. And I love seeing Mike Trout on a baseball field. I don't know. I just have a feeling about the Angels being not as crappy as they've always been, and the Astros taking a step back. The Mariners are pretty good, but that division is pretty open
Yeah.
for the taking.
No,
So
yeah.
why
Yeah.
couldn't the
Yeah.
Angels shock the world and kind of take advantage of a weak year?
Yeah, no, it's a good pick. Alex, what about you?
So, I mean, I think there's a number of ways I can go about this, but I'm not saying they're going to be good or relevant. But the Sacramento A's, it's kind of funny with them because
It'd be fun.
That's just the
They-
A's. They are
Well, you
not
don't want
this.
to call them the Sacramento
They're not
A's?
the Sacramento A's. They're literally just the Athletics.
Yeah, like if you look at the
Like
Cubs
officially.
Yeah,
if you look at the
they're
Cubs
not
schedule,
changing
it
the.
says ATH.
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
just
the
the
Athletics.
Athletics.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh. I didn't know that. Anyway, they will be playing in Sacramento. And like I said, they're not going to be contenders by any means, but it's like, you look at him even last year, like Brent Rooker, like they got some dudes.
They do.
Especially
And
in
they
that
spent money.
bullpen, obviously. With,
I saw them at Wrigley
firepower
last
they
year, and
Yeah.
I mean they could hit the ball.
And didn't they sign Luis Severino?
They
Was
did.
it Luis Severino
Yeah,
that they
they did.
signed?
Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
he was pretty solid last year. Again, I'm not saying they're going to be a winning team by any means, but
Yeah.
they have some dudes. Mason Miller, you see what he throws, and
Yeah.
probably the best closer in baseball right now.
Do you know why they
Fully
signed
completed,
Luis
I don't know.
Severino?
They
It's
had
because they were about to get in trouble for not spending enough money, so they
Yeah,
just
they needed to
threw
spend
they
money
just
on
threw
somebody.
stupid money at him. It was like,
Yeah,
here, you can just
yeah.
have
But-
this.
It proves to only a point that when they want to, teams can just willingly spend money.
Uh-huh.
Let's see who. So there's one team I'm going to, not the team I'm going to be watching, but one team I am going to just like be like, don't laugh, but it's actually the Chicago White Sox. Because here's the thing, I don't hate the offseason they've had. I like their pitching. I'm just curious to see how they can go from terrible to bad. Just curious to see. That's just a weird baseball sicko in me.
No, I get it.
Drama wise, I am all here for the Boston Red Sox because the aftermath from signing Alex Bregman, not necessarily from their front office, from their players so far, has been great. We had Tristan Casas coming out today, straight up saying who should be on the roster, who shouldn't be on the roster.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll go over well with everybody in that clubhouse.
It's so wild that their fans were begging them to make a big move, and they finally make one, and the players are like,
And that voice was like,
Screwing it
I'm
up.
not moving. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I am here. The pettiness is me is here to watch that. As a Cubs fan, I'm keeping an eye on the Blue Jays. I think if the Blue Jays start to struggle, I think there's a lot of players that would fit the Cubs trading for this season. but are
Vladdy
free-
Jr., he didn't get that
but are
extension.
free agents next summer. So if the Cubs are in it at the deadline, I think that's a team to watch. So yeah,
Vladdy Jr..
keeping eyes on the AL East, the Red Sox and Blue Jays.
I think the Yankees are a little mad that they I think they're mad that they lost out on some of their free agent targets, and I think
Yeah.
that they're gonna have a fire underneath them. So obviously the AL East. I think the biggest bloodbath is gonna come in the NL East.
Yeah.
The Mets, the Phillies, the Braves.
That's my fun.
I mean, that's
Yep.
gonna be, and watch out for the Nationals. That is a young, fun
Yeah,
team
I
that
can
was
see it.
coming on
Yeah.
late last year. They got some guys that are gonna get a full year under their belts. What is the outfielder Dylan something starts with the C? Cruz. Yes.
Crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Dylan Cruz.
He, and then there's a couple other young guys out there. But keep an eye out for them. They're not just gonna roll over. They're gonna keep things competitive. So I think the NL East.
Well, they got
is-
DJ
yeah.
Hurst, former Cub prospect.
Mhm.
They have
Yeah.
Mackenzie Gore still, I believe.
Mackenzie Gore.
Yeah,
that
no,
was the other one that I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, they have some young guys coming up, and again, like to your point, they're not going to be contenders, but they're not going to be like a 100 loss.
That'd be a fun
But
watch.
they're
Yeah.
they're in the
They'll be
perfect
pesky.
they're in a perfect spot of like, look, you got a juggernaut in New York and Philly and Atlanta. You might as well just go out and try to play your best ball. And
Yeah.
Because
And weird things
the
can-
Philly's not going to last forever.
and weird things happen when you have no expectations and you can just go out and play baseball. Weird things happen. So
Yeah.
I
No,
think the NL East is going to be fun.
As a whole, the NL East would be very fun.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Definitely here
Even
for that,
and
yeah.
obviously the NL East too. When you have LA and San Diego and
Oh, yeah.
Arizona, I don't think the Giants are going to be near good enough to compete with them. But they have enough talent where they could at least give you a competitive game. And then
Sure.
there's Colorado, who will probably be the worst team in
That's-
baseball.
yeah.
But
It makes me so sad. It
Yeah, terrible.
it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so sad. Anyways,
Yeah, that's terrible. Anyways, yeah, baseball here. We're back, boys.
I love baseball's my favorite. Like, I know we get all riled up about football, but we have to get riled up about football because we only get 18 chances to watch it a year.
Yeah, and baseball's our summer best friend. So baseball is our
Yes.
best friend for 6 months. So,
Yeah.
Yep. Hope
Okay.
springs eternal.
Another reminder for all of you that need to renew your Marquee subscription. Renew your Marquee subscription. Games start on Friday against the White Sox, the 21st.
On Marquee Friday. Yeah, Marquee Sports Podcast is Friday. The Cubs and
Don't they
Dodgers.
play a game
the Cubs and
Thursday? That's
Dodgers
just
on
not televised,
Thursday will
yeah.
be on MLB Network.
Gotcha.
Oh, beautiful. Another channel that I don't get on YouTube TV.
And for you guys who thought Cody Bellinger trade might be a salary dump, Cody Petite is starting for the Cubs on Thursday. You probably don't know who he is. That's a starting pitcher we got from the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Trade saved. On that
Season
note-
saved.
He's either Adam Warren or Jake Arrieta.
Oh,
Which one do you want?
Jake. I mean, honestly, Jake.
Let me
Yeah.
think. I don't know. Just kidding. Boy,
But I will
imagine
say,
getting another Jake Arrieta from him.
Yeah, no, we're not about to do a Cody Petite 15-minute. But I think he might surprise people.
God,
Here,
All right,
here
boys.
first.
God
He's
bless.
the next Jake
whoa,
Arrieta.
whoa, 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 whoa. Host names the podcast.
Matt Shaw Fan Club.
Hey, I love Matt Shaw.
Okay.
All right, bye, friends.
Adios.